What's up, everybody? Smoove Cosplay here, your favorite salsa dancing cosplayer. And I got with me another good cosplay friend of mine today with Smoove Conversations. I got EvilGentleman13, aka Mr. Calvin Exum. Calvin, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fine, my brother. How are you and everybody else out there today?
I'm doing great. So, start this off the same way I always do. When did you fall in love with cosplay?
Ooh, when did I fall in love with cosplay? That's a good question. I want to say, start going to cons. This is 2020. When I say I started going to cons around 2013.
Okay.
And around 2014, I said, I want to cosplay. I can do this. I see other people doing it, and I can do this. I used to go to cons and just wear cool T-shirts.
Right.
I can do this, and that's what I fell up 2014, and I've been in love with it ever since. It's like falling in love with hip hop and rap. You never forget when you fell in love with it.
Exactly. You always remember that moment, right?
Remember what moment, what song you fell up. It's just the nature of the beast, and I fell in love with it, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. Not unless my wife pulls my chain. You know how that goes.
Right. She must be a pretty understanding wife. If you still, if you've been, hitting cons all the time and cosplaying. I don't even think I've seen her, but just by extension, I'm like, she's got to be somebody that's understanding of the hobby.
Yeah, she is, and she's made it known and clear that this is not her thing. Mm-hmm. She enjoys seeing the creativity and the artistry of it. Going to cons is not her thing. Now, she'll go to the movies and enjoy the movies and things of that nature, the comic book movies and sci-fi. But going to cons is her thing. And her theory is like this. It's like any woman. As long as you take care of home first, we're good with whatever you decide to do after that. And it's my hobby. It's one of a couple of hobbies. When I say couple, I don't mean two. Some hobbies that I have, but as long as I'm taking care of home first, it's pretty cool with everything that I do. So yours sounds a lot like mine. Like, she did it with me once. It was part of her wedding vows, no less. I didn't even egg that on. I was at the altar like, what? Seriously? But I mean, yeah, she's not in the cons. Like, she went to one with me before we cosplayed together. And I could tell, like, just the environment wasn't really, not the environment, but the chaos, the chaosity, if you will. Right.
It's just not her vibe. But
it's not.
Very supportive of me doing it. She, just like you said, as long as you taking care of home, there's no problems.
Right.
Yeah. Now, speaking of cons, we're a week removed from what would have been DragonCon, and I think you're answering my next question already. Is DragonCon your favorite con to go to?
By far, it is. I love DragonCon. It's my favorite con. I have a 3 cons that I will always go to a year. And if I can't make other cons, I'm cool with it. And DragonCon is that con. I love the DragonCon. I love the people that I associate with. It's like seeing your family at a family reunion. I love just the vibe. I love how the city opens up and just becomes a friendly atmosphere for DragonCon. It's and the con itself, I love it. I'm not trying to plug it because it does that itself. Right. But I just love it. And you get very defensive of it sometimes too when people talk about it, especially people who have never went. Have you went and it's not your con? If you don't like it, then by all means, I shut up. Nothing to say. But if you never went and you're knocking off of hearsay or things of that nature, I'm like, why? You've never went to this con.
Right.
You've never experienced it, so how can you knock? Now, there are some people who don't like big cons. They prefer small. Yeah. Small. When I say small, I mean small, like less than 100 people cons, if that. And I say this con is not for you. Then it's really not. So,
yeah.
I'm hoping next year we'll be back up and running. It'll be back up and running, and but all depends on how this virus turns out and whether if we don't, if not a vaccine, then once again I can't see people gathering around. Although you may see cons, and I was telling this to someone, you may, and we'll stick on DragonCon. So we're talking about it. I won't be surprised if this year they put a cap. If cons start putting a cap on how many tickets they can sell.
Right.
Well, especially DragonCon. I don't think DragonCon puts a cap. You see how it is Saturdays. Yeah. I mean, it almost like if you go Friday and you see the crowd on Friday, which is big, Saturday's almost like 5 times the size of Friday. Saturday's almost, it's just huge. It's just huge. Like I make the joke. I said, if you and I are going to meet somewhere at DragonCon, we have to pre-arrange it because there's no way we're just going to walk into each other.
Exactly.
It just doesn't happen.
And even then, it might not happen.
Right.
Bad reception. Signals crossed, miscommunication, all of that. But yeah, I've said the same thing. If you don't say, "Hey, period, full stop," if you and I are gonna meet up at this exact place, this exact day, this exact time, no matter what, it ain't gonna happen.
Exactly.
You can't leave it to chance. You'll meet somebody new and run into that new person 5 times across the whole con, but you got that one friend you haven't seen in years, and it's so big. It happens at cons regardless, but it's such a big environment. Like you gonna miss each other. It's So unless you plan it well, concrete plans, it's not gonna happen.
I've seen that where you, especially in the day and age of social media, where you like a day after the con, so and so was at DragonCon. I was like, "You were there?" Yeah, yes. I didn't see you. And you asked, "Well, where were you hanging out at?" Well, I was hanging out at the Marriott. I said, "So was I." We just didn't happen to see people. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you know the other side of it. Sometimes you see people before they see you, and you don't see them. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You don't want to see. Oh, there goes so and so. You go the other direction.
Yeah.
So that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and then distractions too. Like you see somebody, and you're like, "Oh, there's such and such," and some awesome cosplay happens over here. You see it, and then you like. I just automatically forgive people for being scatterbrained at cons in general, but also at DragonCon, because this is like you meant to go say, "Hey, nice costume," or you meant to go get a picture of this person, and something happens in that split second between thought and action, and that action don't happen.
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I've seen cosplays where I'm like, "Oh my God, I missed the fight." And I go get a picture, but then I saw someone else who I know from my area and get this picture real quick. By the time I go turn back to say hello to them, they're gone. And once they're gone, catch up to them. And then some. And I was telling someone else, DragonCon is something different for everyone. I say it's a 3 Ps. It's photo shoots, panels, and parties.
Yeah.
And that's what to me DragonCon is. And you got some people, they only go for panels, they only photo shoots, and some people, they go for party. When I say, just don't mean the physical last party all they're on. I mean, when I say party, I'm partying all day. I mean,
just hanging out in Marriott all night.
Exactly. They wake up in the room. They don't leave the Marriott. They may go across to the Hyatt and the Hilton. That's it. Like there's some people who have never been to Westin. Never been to Westin. Yeah. So I guess that's the military history track, and I believe it's another track too. I don't want to misspeak, so I won't. But if you're not into that, like if you don't want, say, Battlestar Galactica or Babylon 5 or shows of that nature, experience, you may not make your way over there. So it's and every year I say I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try to make it to a panel. And
you get into what you normally do.
Yeah, I mean, if I said to myself, I'll get up Sunday morning and go to a panel, so I can say at least I went to a panel. Because when they make you laugh at this, when they come out with the schedule, I have at least 20 panels over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You don't really count Monday, because I out on Monday, but I have 20 panels, 5 panels a day, so I'm gonna go to. And maybe 2 of those the whole entire weekend. So that's DragonCon for me. So
Yeah, it's crazy with panels. Like I go to panels at smaller cons. With DragonCon, it's like FOMO hits me, fear of missing out. Like I always feel like in standing in this long behind line for an hour and then being in the panel for an hour.
I'm missing something.
Just to do that once, I feel like what did I miss by being in this line? So
Exactly.
other than 2016, I think there was this voiceover acting panel because like people have been always telling me, like I got clients that work and tell me, hey, you sound like you got a radio voice, you should do voiceover this, voiceover that, and I've been procrastinating with it for so long. And in 2015, I saw that there was a voiceover acting panel, but it was on Thursday. I'm like, crap, I only got Friday off. So the next year, I was like, let me save the money for the panel because you had to pay extra for it, and let me take Thursday off. And it was like a 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday panel.
Right.
So I took that. Other than that, I just don't go to panels. I can't do those. I'm gonna sound a lot more bougie than I intend to, but I just can't do lines like that. Other than the line to get in registration, I'm not doing lines at DragonCon. I'm like, it's just.
I agree with you. I
think
think
my time.
I've only done, I want to say, three big star panels, and I did one of them. It was Star Trek Discovery. 3 members of the cast, and the reason why I did that was 10 o'clock in the morning. Friday. So I got there around 9 o'clock, and the line wasn't that long. That might have been 11. I think it might have been after the intro to Star Trek, or it might be running concurrent. I'm not sure, but I know I went to that panel, and I stayed through that panel, and I said to myself, never again. I was going to go to Patrick Stewart when the first year I was there. I made it my business to go to Patrick Stewart, and I went. And yeah, I was a DragonCon newbie. I got there and I looked at I said, I didn't know the line would be out the building. And I asked him, I said, where's the line for Patrick Stewart? He said, it's all the way down at the end of it. So I could hear them, outside. I'm like, what the heck?
Man.
And I said, yeah, no. And then when I went back the next year, I was cosplaying, and maybe just me, but a lot of cosplayers don't go to panels. They just don't. Now they are cosplaying something that they like. And I can't. I don't like to stereotype all cosplayers, but I just don't, because that's what you go there for. You go to cosplay, show off your cosplay.
Yeah.
I noticed too that. You've been part of it. You've been to the Black Geeks. You've been to the Wakanda shoots and the Marvel shoots and the other big shoots. You always have those big shoots, but there's always those smaller shoots.
Yeah.
That you don't know about.
Right.
But when you get, you'll see like a group of. One year I got there and I saw a group of Star Wars Clone Wars. They had characters from the Clone Wars. They had. Anakin, they had Obi-Wan, they had Padme, they had some other characters.
Right.
And 16 of them. I said, and they were inside the Hilton. I said, did you guys like know each other? We just met on a Star Wars Facebook page and we all just arranged it. That's what's so great about and big cons in general, that happens. And so, it's hard to sit in a panel. Now, if I do go to a panel, I go to the smaller ones. Because sometimes, to be honest with you, the smaller ones that fans put on, in my opinion, are a lot. I went to a Bigfoot panel one day, and I had to go all the way over to the West End to get to it. And I was over at the Marriott. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. On a Friday or a Saturday. You're not thinking. You're just thinking about hanging out. That's right. I need to get over there. And it's not all. You live in Atlanta. It's not a long walk, but with all those people, it takes you a good minute.
Yeah.
And I made it. I was surprised that we had like 30 people in the panel room, but it was pretty cool. But that's as you can tell, I love Dragon. I can talk about it all.
Yeah, exactly. So, question for you. So, that same weekend, a lot of stuff happens in Atlanta, right? And one of the big things is, I think, like the kickoff of college football weekend, right? So, in the same area as us, there's always people, heading to some of the games. They're at some bar. They're at the bar in the Hyatt. They're at Hooters around the corner. People, a lot of sports fans there, right? So there's always this common misconception that geeks and sports fans are mutually exclusive, but you and I both know that's obviously not the case, right?
Exactly.
We're both, we're both heading to watch, well, not heading to, but both, hitting the couch and watching football when we're done with this, right? So how do you, well, I guess a couple of questions in one, like how do you balance your geek life and your sports life, and how do you counter people who try to tell you that the two don't mix?
It's a good question. I don't hide it. As you know, I don't have a separate Facebook page or a separate Instagram account, or it's all there. And I talk about it and I'll tie it all in, like football season coming up.
Yeah.
I'll usually watch it at home, but I may go down to my cigar shop and I'll watch it, and I'll start talking to some people during the game or during a commercial, and I'll bring up I was at a comic con. We'll start talking.
Yeah.
Pictures. Like, oh, that's cool. Or like you said, down in Atlanta, I think it's been going on so long that the fans just leave it. College football fans leave them alone. Or if you start talking to them about college football, like, oh, well, wow. You know what I'm trying to say? They're like, it breaks that ice. But if you're not a sports fan, I can see where it can be intimidating. And I've seen people get up and leave restaurants because they're like, you know what, these people are intimidating me because they make me feel. For me, I'm a big fan of both sports and geek and cosplay. So I just make them both work. But I guess it's just my personality that I don't allow anyone to cold water dampen my spirit of what I like.
Yeah.
And I can hold my own talking about mutual exclusive. And there's a lot of cosplayers saying that way too. I remember a photo shoot one time before. We all started talking about upcoming football season, and I imagine 40 people at a cosplay shoot in character talking about the top, like, hey, we can talk about when the shoot is done with. But it's just, and do you have some people there that have a little bit too much to drink or just plain out jerks because they're there, and you just have to ignore them, or me, I have to give them back. I have to give them back the heat that they give me. And you get what I'm trying to say. I have to give back that heat, and I'm like, now some of your viewers might be like, I'm 47 years old, so I'm not done
with school, right?
I've walked both lives because I'm tired. You know what I mean? I'm cool in the boardroom and I'm cool in the streets. So if you want to give heat, it's totally up to you how you want to give heat. And I've had to let that. I think I've only had once, and it wasn't even at DragonCon. It was here. I was at a local con, and one dude, it was a brother. It was actually at the barber shop. Talking to my barber, and he was talking. This dude said, "Why does a black man dress up like a superhero, grown ass man?" And the heat I gave back was, I said, "Why does another grown ass black man worry about what another black man is doing? It's not coming out of his pocket. You should be worried about issues you're having." I'm just here. You got to go to court for child support. I said, "I never had those issues, my brother. You should be worried about that. I'm worried about
get them."
And maybe my expendable money runs a little bit deeper than yours. So that answered that question. But it's just the heat you get back. You have to listen. I let one dude on. I think he didn't like it down on Dragon. And his wife died. His wife said she apologized. She said my husband had a little bit too much to drink. I said, hey, it is for us to tell he was drunk, but you would have got that heat had he continued.
Right, there you go. And I'm with you, man. Like I don't tolerate the bashing from either side. Just like that probably would have been my same response. Like, why is another grown man worried about what another grown man is doing? Then on the flip side of that, it's like you get geeks who feel, because there's that that history of popular people or the jocks hating on the geeks, right?
Yeah.
And you got some of our fellow geeks who feel that they feel entitled because of that history. They feel entitled to spit that back at jocks who aren't deserving of it. Like they see all sports fans and all jocks as those people who picked on them before. So you'll have people, there's that meme that's like, y'all know fantasy football is just Dungeons and Dragons for sports. And I'd be like, and I like both.
Right.
Like you mean it as an insult, but I'm like, whatever. But yeah, like I don't take it as an insult, but I pick up on the fact that it was meant that way, and I'm like, don't be a hypocrite. You're being a hypocrite by doing that. The fact that you're trying to use that as an insult. I'm like, don't do the same thing that people were doing to you. You never, in my opinion, you never get a pass for that. I don't care how long you've been put down. You don't get a pass to return that fire, especially to somebody who may not have actually been the person doing it in the first place.
Exactly. I feel you. I've said that before. You read it on my post where I've said that there are those, and I hate coming down to cosplay because to me, I'm just a cosplayer. I'm nobody in the cosplay. I'm somebody, but you get what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be that guy. I would never want to be that guy. It feels fun. But I see a lot of cosplayers do that. They were maybe picked on when they were in high school, so now they feel they want to turn around and give that heat to other people.
Yeah.
But they pick on, like one cosplayer said one time before, now unless you're totally into this. He said, "There's no room for anything else but cosplay." I'm like, man, you need some help. You need some. you need some help. But a lot of people in this fandom, this cosplay world, they do it because they figure now that, like you said, they were picked on. So let me give it back. And I wasn't. I guess I was able to walk that fine line in high school. I was able to be that guy who read comics, but also played sports. So yeah, I mean, it's. But I see now that if you were the oppressed, now you want to become the oppressor.
Right. And don't be a killmonger. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's not. And I told people you're gonna try it with the wrong person one day.
Yeah.
It's gonna end well.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I'm not condoning violence, but I'm also not condoning acting like there won't be a consequence when you do something crazy. Like you said, you're going to roll up on the wrong person. I'm not the wrong person. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take it there, but somebody will, and you'll eventually run into the wrong person. And
exactly. I mean, because it starts off with, I'm going to start nitpicking your cosplay, and the two people start, and especially kind of personality they do that to. And the person pushes back, then they push back, then they push back, then they push back, they push back, and it goes from cosplay, then it gets into the personal life, and that's when it kind of and it gets really, really, really deep, and you start saying stuff like, "Listen, look, homeboy, listen, we start throwing hands." And I sound like now I shouldn't, but that's the nature of the beast. So I mean, that's why that's just me. I don't want to be that guy. There's a lot of